and a little bit about nonviolent communication. What is NVC? A lot of people use that term. It stands for nonviolent communication, started by Marshall Rosenberg. Consciousness of compassion, a way of focusing our attention in ways that allow for compassionate giving and receiving to take place. And the Center for Nonviolent Communication is probably where most of you found me, but it's the center, the nonprofit started by Marshall Rosenberg. And I love this NVC Tree of Life created by Inbel Cashton, another NVC trainer. And I love it. First of all, it's nature-based, but it has a visual for, where to start our NVC practice and what it looks like. And so it starts with the roots of the tree, which where she put self-empathy is kind of the roots of our NVC practice, the place at which it all starts. And that involves kind of an inward practice, like we did a little bit earlier, like looking inside of myself to see what's alive inside of me in a moment, and maybe even putting words to that. But at the very least, tuning into my sensations and what's happening inside of my body and inside of my mind, both body and mind. And as we go up the tree, we touch into the branch of empathy, actually, and it breaks off into the nonverbal and the verbal versions of empathy. And on the rightmost branch, you have self-expression, which is communicating what we discovered in our self-empathy practice. So in our series today, in our workshop, we're going to be focused on the empathy branch of the tree. And in the series, we're focused on the crown of the tree. So we'll touch a little bit on self-empathy, but in the 10-week series, we're focused mostly on the crown, the upper branches of the tree, NVC Tree of Life. So I want to offer you another breakout experience, kind of as a warm-up to what we're going to be doing later. And what I'd like each person to do is to describe your ideal world. My ideal world is one in which, and then you complete that sentence. And everyone else in the group is invited to just listen silently. And that might be uncomfortable for some. And so the invitation is for whoever is not speaking to listen silently and notice perhaps what thoughts you might be having in your head as the other person is speaking. So I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate sort of like the response to the prompt, and then I'm going to recreate new groups of 3 to 4 people, where each of you will have about a minute to answer that question. And so modeling. So right now, gosh, my ideal world is one in which there's, people are self-aware and taking responsibility for their thoughts, feelings, and needs, and making clear, doable requests with their fellow humans, and also connecting with the natural world, the more than human world. And we're co-creating the world that we want to live in. So we're sharing power with each other through this honest self-expression and empathic listening. So there is a sharing of power, and we're reforming the structures and the laws that we have in our larger communities to reflect these values of collaboration and allowing for everyone to express their true nature, to discover and express their own true nature, with consent on how that impacts other people, so an awareness of the impact that we have on each other, and maybe creating conversations about that. And we honor the elders of our community. So anyway, there's a snapshot into my universe. And so I'm gonna recreate breakout rooms for you all to give your version of the world that you'd like to live in. And let's see, I'm gonna recreate the groups here. And hopefully you'll get a little bit of connection. So I'm gonna give, so it's about a minute each. And I'll give you 4 to 5 minutes in your groups. So I'll see you in about 5 minutes. Welcome back, everyone. Yeah, how was it to share about your ideal world? Maggie, I see a thumbs up. Would you like to put words to that?
Yeah, absolutely. It felt really good to say all that, and also to see nods coming from my fellow breakout partners, but to just express that positivity of the ideal world. And like, part of mine was to have NVC being taught starting in kindergarten and on up through grade school, high school, so that we start with the learning how to communicate from a very early age. So I feel very enlivened right now thinking about that.
Enlivened. I love that word. Hey, Tree.
Hey, yeah, like Maggie, mine was similar in grade school. That communication skills and relating skills are taught because the family relationships that are no longer in my life are because of lack of communication. Could have, what I'm saying. So I think I think I liked a little bit to have a little bit of what everyone else was sharing, but in the end, I felt a little sadness.
Sadness that we're not quite there yet, something like that.
Yeah, I shared a little bit about the medical field, Western medicine, and it's just like sadness about this medical doctor who's trying to help people with the alternative to the vaccine, got his bank account shut down. It's like, what kind of world do we live in? And sad that maybe these relationships might have had my niece or my nephew and my sister been able to communicate early on rather than years of not communicating and it's too late and shutting me out, Yeah.
Something around inclusion is up for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Inclusion and maybe openness, huh?
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you, Tree.
Welcome.
All right. Anyone else want to share? Otherwise, we'll go ahead and move on. And this is part of the experience of the workshop. So we are closing the room. So Maggie, please don't allow any other people to come in. Yeah, and that's because we're trying to create a container, right? We're trying to create a container for safety. So Maggie, would you be up for sharing our protocol? If you happen to get dropped out, then there's a procedure here for you to get back in.
Yeah, sure. If for any reason you get locked out of the meeting, maybe when we're going through breakouts or whatever happens, write down my number here, 929-224-4514. I'll put it in the chat as well, and just text me, and then use the same link that you used to first get into class and today, and I'll let you back in. Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Maggie. So yeah, just covering some agreements and intention to create that safe space for us to be real with each other. First one is confidentiality. And how that lives for me is, gosh, you're welcome to share your experience with the world, write about it. Just don't share the experience of other people. Just plain and simple. That's how confidentiality lives for me. Consent. You get to choose how you show up and what you share here. You're at choice. You're also responsible for your own safety. And the main room is being recorded. So that's sort of a part of the deal of the free workshop. So you're, consenting with taking responsibility for yourself. Compassion for me is like the acknowledgement that we're all doing the best we know how to get our needs met in every moment. So inviting compassion into our space, and then connection is really the intention behind nonviolent communication, and why, you know, why nonviolent communication is around. It has that foundational of connection. So if you agree with this, please raise your hand visually so we can all see it. And if you subscribe to the ideology invited there, and if your camera is not on, if you can give us some kind of visual, some digital thumbs up, I see there, and yeah, raising your hand digitally, that's awesome. Thank you. All right, good. So we have a container. And a little bit, so we're not going to be letting anyone else into the space. So here's our agenda for today. We've kind of been going through the introduction at this point, but we're going to be talking about needs and strategies right after this, which is the one like foundational principle of nonviolent communication. And so I hope to spend a little bit of time there talking about it because it's so important. Then we're going to apply, you know, using that one foundational principle to empathic listening. Then we'll have a closing circle on, you know, finding out how people are feeling. And then we'll end with about 30 minutes of Q&A. So, so that's where we're headed. Yeah, let's see. I'm going to